I guarantee every week you'll see videos of the top waiver wire ads that are simply just a list of players that score the most points that week in fantasy, and it never actually helps anybody. On this channel, I keep it real and do not waste your time. Here are the players at every single position that we need to be avoiding off of the waiver wire that aren't actually good ads that people think are. Starting with a drop list, these are going to be the priority guys. If you have them on your roster, get them off your team, starting with Tony Pollard. And as we get into this, hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds. It's free to you, and it helps me so much as a creator. There is no reason he should be on a roster. He is not startable. He doesn't get enough usage. Even last week on a game where they actually put up a good amount of points and yardage, still didn't do anything. Tajay Spears is the more fantasy viable running back because of the game scripts they're going to be in of pass catching and passing first. Luke Musgrave as well can be dropped. I mean, this one's kind of unfortunate. He's in a 3 tight end committee right now for the Packers. He is not this one-to-one fill-in for Tucker Kraft that we all thought he was. David Njoku can also be dropped. He ran a considerable less amount of routes than Harold Fannin, 7 to his 26 last week. You can also drop Evan Ingram, who hasn't really been able to do much in his opportunities. He's always been a volume tight end, not getting the volume, not being fantasy viable. You can also get rid of Joe Flacco now with Joe Burrow coming back. Calvin Ridley, drop him. For some reason, he's still rostered in over 30% of leagues. He's on IR. He's not coming back. And JJ McCarthy, concussion protocol. I promise you, he is not concussed. They are just benching him because he is so bad. With that, these are the players you need to be avoiding off the waiver wire. Top one here is going to be Bam Knight, one of the biggest traps coming into week 13 in a very positive matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. But looking at what we just saw for the Jaguars, it is not inviting. Only 10 carries for 12 yards, 1.2 yards per carry, and his efficiency for the entire season has been very, very bad. He's getting saved by his touchdowns. I still don't really understand why they're giving him the goal line role, but the reason they're doing that is because they don't really have anybody else. And Amari DeMarcado, a guy that before injury, after their bye week, had 14 carries for 79 yards. At the same time, in that same game, Bam had his worst game of 9 carries for 27 yards. His snaps have been decreasing, and Amari DeMarcado is likely going to return this week. But more importantly, Trey Benson is coming off of IR soon, and he will wash all of these running backs out of the mix. Bam came into the week with an injury. He picked up another one in overtime last week. The efficiency on the ground is terrible. He doesn't really get used as a pass catcher. He's going to lose his goal line work as well, and Brissett does elevate this offense. He's still not getting a ton of usage behind it, so you can avoid him off the waiver wire in a committee running back system with Trey Benson coming back, but also Darius Slayton as well. One of the biggest ones because the speculation around his name and this Giants team. The reality for the waiver wire is, can you win me a league, or at bare minimum, can you win me a week? Both of those things are extremely unlikely for Darius Slayton, and it's also very unlikely that the Giants have any chance of supporting a wide receiver 2 in fantasy value at the same time next to Wan'Dale Robinson. Last week, he came back from injury. He played a full snap share. Mind you, he was in the game, played every single snap he usually does, right up there with Wan'Dale Robinson and Isaiah Hodgins. Still, he had a lower target share. He was behind them in all of that. 2 targets to Wan'Dale's 13 and Isaiah Hodgins' 4. And the eye test shows that Isaiah Hodgins is clearly just better outside of that one catch he had against the Bears a few weeks ago. And again, he got that target share running almost the exact same amount of routes as all of these guys. Keep in mind, 2 targets on Jameis Winston's 36 passing attempts. When Dart comes back, that is going to be insanely lower of a total pass volume, and that target share there is already terrible. Now, they do have some pretty positive matchups coming, another reason why people are still giving him a chance. They got the Patriots and the Commanders after their bye week, but with all of that, it's still going to be extremely hard to trust him, and just like Ty Johnson, not really guys we want to waste our time on. He has been on a tear lately as well, averaging over 9.5 fantasy points per game over his last 4. I completely understand the hype with this one. If I'm being honest, there's a ton of snaps going his way. If you just look at this chart from the Bills game, their embarrassing loss against the Texans, he ran more routes than James Cook did, 20 to his 17. He played 23 snaps to James Cook's 36, but Cook is still dominating in total usage. Like, that's not much of a worry. 17 carries to his 2, as you can see. And the reason he's seeing all of this work is because he is their primary third down running back. But when we dive deeper into the numbers and over those last 4 games, they were all very close. I mean, 19-23 loss over the Texans, a 44-32 win over the Buccaneers, a 13-30 loss to the Dolphins, and then a 28-21 win over the Chiefs. So all of these scripts have either been playing behind or keeping it very, very close. And that is going to favor the pass-catching running back and third down guy in Ty Johnson, which is why he's seeing that increase. But he plays no more than just the third down role, like the definition of a game script dependent running back. And they have one of the most negative running back rest of season schedules and matchups for the Steelers this week specifically, which isn't projected to be close. So James Cook and the rushing ability should be able to shine in this one. And the Steelers also do not allow a lot of fantasy points to opposing running backs so far this year. So it's two negatives there. And again, the rest of season schedule is hard on top of all of that. But a wide receiver getting leagues on notice right now that we probably should be pumping our brakes on is Greg Dortch and this entire Cardinals team. To be completely honest, 16.8 fantasy points versus the Jags last week, 18.6 on the 49ers right before that, and then even 6.8 against the Steelers right before that. So the last 3 weeks have looked really, really good, but look how compressed his target share is. Over the last few weeks, we know exactly why these numbers are bumping up, and it's for two reasons. Number one, the biggest, is that Marvin Harrison Jr. has been out of the lineup, pushing him up the depth chart. Obviously, that's going to be great for him. The second being Jacoby Brissett coming in and playing very good, supporting all of these fantasy options in fantasy football, allowing to the offense to eat. But Dortch's relative target share has been atrocious through this time. I mean, he had 6 targets in week 11 on Jacoby Brissett's 57 passing attempts. That's a 10% target share. Last week, his 9 on Jacoby Brissett's 49 passing attempts is another 18% team target share. For context, that is outside the top 50 wide receivers. He's their primary slot guy. Plus, he's a pretty small wide receiver. Like, he doesn't have a ton of upside, but again, he is not going to be a game changer that we pick up on our team, and you dropping him is not going to be a league-losing decision you can make. Just like Cam Ward, who I promise is not going to have his breakout. Like, do not get distracted by him having his best game of his pro career. 23.9 fantasy points against a really, really good Seahawks defense. He completed 28 of his 42 attempts. Still, decent amount of yardage. I mean, 256. That's one of his highest totals with no interceptions this year. His rushing is really what's getting people looking at his name on the waiver wire, though. I mean, he had 6 carries for 37 yards and a touchdown, on top of him getting an extremely positive matchup this week versus the Jaguars defense. Do not fall for this trap, though. The offensive line cannot hold a block. He's still making mistakes. Majority of that scoring last week came in pretty much garbage time. Like, there was no concern that the Seahawks were not going to win that game, and he doesn't have very many elite playmakers to kind of save him from those situations with a bad offensive line and playing as bad as he is right now. So leave him on the waiver wire. He's not a quarterback you need to go through and pick up. If you want to know the real quarterbacks you should go get, check out my most recent video I just posted. I can link it in the description for you guys just in case you are curious. But while you're doing that, Devin Singletary is one of the biggest traps as well for week 13. There are so many variables that people are not taking into account. The first one being the surge of his usage with Cam Scatterbo out of the lineup. He's averaging 9.95 fantasy points per game since that stretch happened. And among some really good run defenses in there, like the 49ers, the Bears, Packers, Lions, they aren't all terrible defenses. In this chart, you can see right when Jackson Dart went out with his concussion, his usage and carries skyrocketed. 16 in week 11 with 2 touchdowns, which made everybody go crazy on the waiver wire. Then 14 last week for 47 yards. Not a touchdown, but another decent total of carries, I guess you could say. But you look at how inefficient he's been. He's averaging less than 3.5 yards per carry on the season. I believe it's 3.1. Tyron Tracy is clearing away this RB1. It might not look like it if you just look at the box score, but he is being the lead back every single week. He's getting a majority of the receiving usage, the touches, the short yardage stuff. Devin Singletary does take some red zone opportunities. Like, that is his main, I guess, claim to fame. But when Jackson Dart comes back this week, if not next, he's going to eliminate almost all of those touchdown opportunities because he does run himself. And it's a terrible matchup versus the Patriots this week, who are bottom 3 in fantasy points allowed to the running backs. He is way too risky. Do not hold any value with him. That is going to finish out this video, though. Let me know who you guys are putting a waiver claim on in the comments, and I will see you in the next video coming tomorrow. All glory to the man above.